What is up, everybody? How is it going? How's it going, lovely people out there? Welcome into the Sactown Sports Kings recap. Coming to you live from Golden One Center after the unthinkable has been done. The thing that was supposed to be impossible that nobody saw coming just happened. The Sacramento Kings absolutely dominated the Golden State Warriors tonight in the 9-10 matchup of the Western Conference play-in. Of course, there's still one more game to go on the Kings' path to secure the final playoff spot in the Western Conference and play the Oklahoma City Thunder in that first round in that 1-8 matchup. The Kings are one step closer after taking down their all too familiar foe from down in the Bay. The Golden State Warriors came in tonight with supreme confidence. I don't think there was a media member. I don't think there was, honestly, a ton of fans out there. I don't think many people in this building, besides the guys on that Kings bench, thought that the Kings actually had a good shot at winning. And the way they played today, they believed from tip. They had a game plan that they believed in. They knew what this team liked. They knew the things that this team doesn't like to get into. And they attacked early and often. And absolutely the player of the game today, Keegan freaking Murray. What did he end up with? 8 threes, 8 of 13 from 3 on tonight. Just an incredible performance. What a way to, I guess this doesn't end, but what a cap to your second season in the NBA. After last year being phenomenal for the entire regular season, going through 3 playoff games where you play this very same Golden State Warriors team and really struggle from the field. You find it late in that third game, and Keegan Murray was a different man in game 4 through 7 of last year in the playoffs. He gained a different level of confidence, and this season's been up and down. He's taken a massive leap on the defensive end, but when it comes to shooting, which is where his bread is buttered, it's been incredibly inconsistent. I think Keegan ended the regular season shooting 36% from the field. He's a 40% shooter, flat out. The rest of his career, Keegan Murray's not shooting under 40% from 3. And for him to have a night like he had tonight, where he was guarding Steph for a lot of tonight. I know they switched Keon a lot. They obviously doubled Steph a ton, but it was a lot of Keegan Murray specifically guarding Steph Curry, and he did okay. That's not really what Keegan was in there to do. Keegan scored 9 of their first 9 points, or 9 of their first 11 points. That's right, I have it written down here. Keegan scored their first 9, and then De'Aaron Fox, if everyone will remember, all the way back in the first quarter, had maybe the best highlight he's had this year with that putback dunk with his left hand. And he crashed the glass a lot, De'Aaron did today. I noticed a couple different times he had an opportunity to get a putback dunk, but Keegan was sensational from the jump. He had 14 points in that first quarter, was dead silent in the second quarter. I think he only took 2 shots in that second quarter. I have it marked down here. Yeah, Keegan had 2 points, took 2 shots. Took 2 shots, one of them was from 3 in that in that second quarter to end the half. He had 16 and then comes out in that third on fire. They went right back to that game plan. It worked so well. Keegan had 10 in that third and then finished with 6 points, but 6 very, very important ones, 2 triples in that fourth quarter that ultimately sealed it. I mean, Keegan's threes tonight were the thing that they needed to set them over the top. With Malik Monk out, with Kevin Huerter out, they needed a bit of a scoring pop that hasn't been there here the past 10 or so games. And, we've talked about it all year long, the consistent third scorer. This is exactly the kind of game Keegan Murray was supposed to have in the Kings' mind. Not that this is not impressive to them or anything like that, but the goal of this season was to get Keegan Murray to a point where he could have a game like this and have the comfort and the confidence to just go out there and potentially beat a Warriors team by himself and pretty much spiritually, like, it felt like Keegan's threes gave this team hope. It gave them life. Of course, De'Aaron was incredible tonight. Nobody can ever question De'Aaron Fox, superstar again. Now, can he be the number one on a championship team? That's a big conversation that we can tackle a different day. But if you're just talking about, is De'Aaron Fox a guy? Is he somebody that you can have as your franchise cornerstone? And you know, not every team can win a championship, but will he put you in the race to possibly be there? Absolutely. Absolutely, and tonight was a perfect showing of that. It wasn't just about the offense. It was about his control. He had 2 steals tonight. He was incredibly aggressive on the defensive end, and I just thought a lot of the time tonight he was the thing that kept them going. He kept them pushing, and absolutely had to have this kind of performance out of those 2 guys specifically, and they absolutely showed up. It was a team effort in total. I mean, everyone had their moments. HB in that fourth quarter was going to work. He took it personal. We know HB's got private feelings about this Warriors squad, and he was posting up everybody in that fourth quarter. He wanted some. He hit a huge 3 to kind of seal this game as well. He played great. Of course, Keegan Murray, we just went over. Domantas Sabonis, I thought, was good. You know, we're going to talk a bit about his mid-ranges. I guess I'll do it now. Why not? Everybody has been clamoring, Domantas Sabonis, if you have that mid-range shot, you have to take it. You have to take it. You have to take it. I think tonight is just an example that he just shouldn't. He is not a shooter. He cannot hit that mid-range shot. He spent a lot of time this offseason perfecting that three-point shot. We've seen that come through. He shot, I think, just under 40%, I think 38% on just about 1-3 a game this season. I just don't think that mid-range is in his game. You kind of have to have a certain touch to be able to go from, you know, shots at the rim to shots from the free throw line extended and then three-point range. Those are all 3 completely different touches, and we see Sabonis just really doesn't have it. So ultimately, I know people say that Sabonis had to have the mid-range in order to beat a team like the Warriors. I think tonight he showed, obviously it would have helped a bit, but I don't think he needs to go to that. I think instead of when they give him space to take that jumper, instead I want to see him do what Zion does all the time and just full steam at the rim. If they're gonna give you that much space to build momentum towards the rim, you have to take advantage of that. And to me, that's the way that Sabonis needs to develop from his mid-range, is really just using it to attack the basket. Don't settle for that jumper. They're going to live with that every single time. And even if Sabonis hit a couple of those jumpers, they were going to continue to give it to him. So ultimately, I think he needs to develop a floater. I think keep at the three-point game, but he's got to be better at the rim. He missed a couple bunnies tonight. It wasn't a fantastic Sabonis game. He definitely outperformed Trace Jackson-Davis and didn't let Kevon Looney kill it like he did last year in the playoffs. But it was a really solid game from Sabonis. He did just enough to where, I mean, not that the score was necessarily in the wings or waiting in the wings, but you know, I think he did just enough to kind of get people off of his back. Definitely not an incredible performance. 16 points, 12 boards, 7 assists. We know that's just kind of honestly a typical Sabonis night. So really nothing special from him. Keon Ellis, how about this, man? The fact that this dude what a season. Like, what stones this fool has that, you know, he starts this season with a 2-way contract, gets some early, I wouldn't call them minutes, but got thrown into that garbage time game, or got thrown into in garbage time in that game in Houston earlier this year, where the Kings got blown out completely. And Keon gets some run early in the year. He gets a start against OKC early in the year, where the Kings get a win without De'Aaron Fox and Keon in the starting lineup. And then, you know, you kind of don't get anything from Keon for about a month and a half there. And then he gets reinserted into the lineup. You see him start to what he can do on the defensive end. You see him have a couple breakout moments, and then Kevin Huerter goes down. And the question becomes, okay, Keon's obviously not going to be a one-for-one replacement of Kevin Huerter. Kevin's one of the best shooters, pure shooters that's in this league. Keon's a more defensive-minded guy. If he can hit a shot, that's great, but really, like, you're just hoping, kind of like Davion Mitchell, where he just hits the open ones. And we've seen Keon Ellis is so much more than that on the offensive end. He's got that floater. He hit a nice floater in the fourth quarter there, right over Draymond Green at the end of the game. He's hit some threes. His finishing definitely has a long way to go, but you see him getting those steals, those on-ball steals of Steph Curry. This is definitely the Warriors' kryptonite, is their turnovers. Kings the Warriors doubled the Kings in turnovers tonight. Steph had 6 on his own. The Kings themselves ended with 8. The Warriors ended up with 16, and that was the key to the game. 20 points off turnovers the Kings had. Our guy Brendan Nunes, shout out Brendan, who called it on the dot, said earlier today on the show, if the Kings, his X factor was points off turnovers. If the Kings get 20 plus points off turnovers, that's good for the Kings. Absolutely came true. The Kings capitalized a ton off of Warrior turnovers. And they won all the battles today. They split the points in the paint 40-40. They killed. Here's a key number here. The Kings killed on the offensive glass. Again, we know how last postseason went, where Kevon Looney was just an absolute monster. And that was a huge problem, especially in Game 7, was the amount of second chance points that the Warriors were able to get. Tonight, Golden State gets 8 offensive rebounds. Kings get 15. Kings win the second chance points opportunities 25-9. That is huge, especially for, again, a Warrior team that turns the ball over a ton. So you get 20 points off turnovers, you get 25 points in second chance points, and you get 12 points on the fast break. They just absolutely dismantled the Warriors. 3 lead changes in this one. It wasn't until early in the game. The Kings pretty much led this one. The Warriors only had a lead in the first quarter. That was it. That was the only time the Warriors actually led this game. The Kings were up by as much as 26 and ultimately get the win by, 24 points. 24-point win here at Golden One Center. Just incredible. And now I see it all in the chat. I had to go through my little spiel of what I saw from the Kings side. But yes, I see the comments, y'all. I see them all. And don't you get it twisted. I got time. I got time today. The term I've been using for the past 20 minutes is generational. Iconic is another word you can use. Ladies and gentlemen, in what could very well be, especially after tonight, the last game for Klay Thompson in a Golden State Warriors uniform as he enters free agency this summer, and heavily rumored that the Orlando Magic are interested. They're also interested in Malik Monk. Who knows? Maybe today takes Klay a little bit further down their big board. Klay Thompson in a gotta-have-it, must-win elimination game. The same guy they call Game 7 Klay. 0 of 10 from the field. 0 of 6 from 3. That's insane. That is insane. That is not supposed to happen. That is not supposed to happen, ladies and gentlemen. Klay Thompson, the second Splash Brother, is not supposed to go 0 of 10 from the field, 0 of 6 from 3 in an elimination game against the Sacramento freaking Kings. I'm going to tell you what. Definitely listen to Styles and Watkins tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. But if you have any spare time outside of that window, you're going to want to tune in to Bay Area Radio because they are going to go bananas. This was not part of the plan. Okay? We talked about it all day on the radio today. Okay? Kings, hey, shout out Kings fans, staying humble, staying real, staying very realistic for sure. I don't think a lot of people thought that the Kings had much of a chance tonight. And I don't think that's negative. Like, I heard a ton of people today saying, why are you being so negative? Not to us specifically, but to everybody. Why are you being so negative? Why are you being so negative? I think it's just being real about the situation. The Kings don't have 2 of their best 5-6 players in Malik and Kevin Huerter. That's tough, especially when the Warriors coming into this game had won 10 of their last 12. And they have all their guys. Jonathan Kuminga played today. Brandon Pajemski played today. Kevon Looney played today. Of course, Draymond's not suspended for these games. Like, they had their full slate available, and they couldn't get it done. They could not get it done. The Kings were not supposed to win this game. They had everything against them. Yo, this is crazy. This is crazy. Klay Thompson with zeros is crazy. That's absolutely nuts. That is so funny. Oh, Gary Payton. Yes, GP2 didn't play. Okay. Oh, sorry. GP2 didn't play, everybody. Restart the game. GP2 didn't play. It's not fair. Yeah, but this was not supposed to happen. So definitely do yourself a favor. Tune in to maybe even check out a Warriors Twitter space tonight, because it's going to be a bunch of sad people. This dynasty, I don't know. Oh, looking at it. Hold on, wait. Let me see if I can get this real quick. Might need to turn my light off so this guy. Oh, okay. Never mind. There's just some Warrior fan who, from what I understand, is a very popular Warrior fan for going to road games and sitting like pretty much courtside adjacent. I'm not going to put him on blast because I just won't do that. But he's sitting right there looking like an ultimate sad boy, just sitting in an empty gym. You know what? I'm going to show him. It's too funny. Oh, you can't really see it, but you see that dude right there? You see that guy sitting in the stands right there? He's got a yellow, like a Warriors yellow and blue wig on. And he's got like a Steph Curry orange We Believe jersey. And he's just sitting there in an empty section with, I think, his child, just sitting there lamenting, like those pictures of athletes after they lose in like the divisional championship game or whatever. You know how they just like watch the confetti fall as the other team celebrates the win. That's very much this guy's energy right now. So yeah, that's how Warrior fans are doing right now. Not too well. Check on a Warrior fan. Make sure they know what the score was today, because yeah, tomorrow's going to be a long one for them. And that's the thing about this game that made it so interesting heading into it, is it did kind of feel like the Kings, to an extent, were kind of playing with house money. Like, how many people, again, expected the Kings to win today? The Kings already were down bad. They're a team that doesn't have a history of success. And again, they have two of their best players injured. So I think a lot of the pressure today was on the Warriors. Like, all the expectations were on their side. All of the, this game was an afterthought. This was just a speed bump on the road to either New Orleans or LA. And they were not even thinking of a loss today as a possibility. So they're going to have to do a lot of readjusting over there in the Bay. That's for sure. That is for sure. It's going to be a crazy offseason for them. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if Klay's going to stay. I don't know if Klay's going to go. I don't know what the future really holds for this Warrior team. I don't know if Andrew Wiggins might have just played his last game as a Golden State Warriors. We kind of saw Jonathan Kuminga have a couple moments tonight where, let's talk about that for a second. The two guys who continue to just be thorns in the side of the Sacramento Kings. Yes, of course, Steph Curry, 50 points. We saw that. Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody have been Kings killers these past two seasons. Earlier this year, Kuminga had a 30-piece against the Kings, which was kind of not a coming out party, but was a bit of an affirmation that Kuminga was having more than just a moment. It was kind of something that they could build on. And he killed the Kings earlier this year. He had a big, I think it was in the second quarter, he kind of had that stretch. In the second quarter, he took 8 shots. By halftime, he was leading the Warriors significantly in shot attempts. So I was fine with it. I wasn't really concerned. I mean, if Moses Moody and Jonathan Kuminga are going to beat you, that's definitely okay with me. Like, I'm okay if Kuminga and Moses Moody have the game of their lives, and that's how the Kings lose. It's much better than having Steph drop another 50-piece and, Klay and Draymond feeling themselves as well. I will say, speaking of Draymond, having the game start with a Draymond 3 was kind of scary, because, there's a saying in Warrior land where everyone's gangsta until Draymond hits a 3. And that's kind of how it is everybody likes to talk trash. But once Draymond kind of gets those threes flowing, he starts to get some confidence. He starts to get loud. It gives the Warriors confidence. The home crowd starts to kind of murmur a bit and say, oh, my God, no, not Draymond. Like, I was planning to boo this guy and heckle this guy. I can't have him going off. So it was a little nerve-wracking to see Draymond hit that early 3. He put the backpack back on at some point and missed a ton of open looks, but it was a little bit nerve-wracking for a moment there. And yeah, that second quarter when Jonathan Kuminga was going crazy, Moses Moody had that moment. How many times, by the way, today did the Warriors get fouled on threes? There was the Moody. I think Steph got fouled twice. No. It was Moody's 3 that was on Trey. There was Steph's three that I think was a foul on Keon. That was an and one. And then there was the Alex Len reckless closeout, which was terrible. That was I texted the group message with Brendan and Frankie and Alan, and I was like, I think that might have actually been the worst play of Alex Len's season. Alex has had a phenomenal season. A lot of really good minutes have been given by Alex Len this year, but that moment was terrible. He straight. I think he was trying to kind of. Wiggins is here. I think he was trying to blow by his shoulder. He just went right through his chest, and ended up getting the reckless closeout. But ultimately, it didn't matter. I mean, there was a moment in that third, fourth quarter where this thing got a little bit shaky. The Kings were, I think, up by as much as 20. There was a timeout called. People kind of started to look around in media row, is anyone willing to call this? Is anyone willing to call this? I was, and. It got a little dicey there. I think the Warriors cut it down to as many as 12. But the really, really impressive thing about the Kings tonight that, frankly, we just haven't seen, the last 10, 15 games is we see teams go on the run and then they don't stop. The Kings have a really tough time turning off that faucet and also have a tough time hitting shots when other teams are going on runs. Tonight, that was not the case, man. It felt like Keon hit a lot of big threes. It felt like Keegan, man. I mean, Keegan, again, had 8 of them. But it felt like Keegan hit a lot of threes where Warriors were going on a run. And you're just really – the Kings today were playing a lot of offensive line, just keeping them in front of you, push them, keep them at arm's distance. And I think that was the most impressive thing to me, is that they just kind of continued to keep Golden State at an arm's reach, never let Golden State even get a little bit of positive momentum. And really, I think this is one of absolutely the most impressive wins of this season. And definitely the fact that it came mainly on the defensive end is something that I know Mike Brown is so proud of. And it's really something that we should all be proud of these guys for. They have come such a long way. Matt George in the pregame, shout out Matt, who was back on the station. Shout out Matt, who was back on the station today, was on Whitey and Drapes' show. We're going to try and have Matt on sometime this week. Matt asked Mike Brown in the pregame. Now I'm forgetting what I was even setting up. Matt asked Mike in the pregame about, and now I'm forgetting. I think it was about the physicality. Yes, it was about the physicality. He asked Mike in the pregame, he said, so last year you talked about how going into the playoffs was an adjustment because you guys kind of had to elevate the physicality, and you were concerned, okay, we played some boo-boo defense in the regular season last year. Do we even have it in us to take another step? They definitely did. Last year in the postseason was really, really revealing for the potential of this team, just in terms of, I think physicality was huge, but also just defensive competence was really huge. We weren't even sure if this team was capable of playing good defense. To this year, Davion had a quote about a week ago where he actually said the team is loving playing this physical defensive style of basketball, and that's just not something I would have believed. If you took me a year and a month in the past, I would have said you're absolutely insane if you're telling me by next season with this same group of guys, the Kings are going to be winning games, postseason games, on the defensive side of the ball. And that's absolutely what it was today, because they pressured Steph from the get-go. They had doubles on him. They had Keon on him. They had Keegan on him early. Steph, I think, only took 4 shots. He took 3 shots in the first quarter. Klay took 3 shots as well. They were, it's a whole lot easier said than done, but they actually did it, where their game plan today was limit Steph and Klay. I'm sure every coach that has ever played the Warriors has said, let's try and limit what Steph and Klay can do. The Kings actually executed that. They made the others beat them. Again, Draymond taking that big 3. Kuminga having 11 shots at halftime. They were more than willing to let all of those other guys beat them and just make Steph's life incredibly difficult. That's kind of the untold secret about Steph is, of course, he's a fantastic player. You can't slow him down. That half-court shot he almost hit at halftime was nuts. But he does not like physicality, or he doesn't like to, he has really tough time playing through physicality. If you beat him up, and the refs kind of let it happen off ball, you're going to bother him. He really likes to be comfortable. Of course, I mean, Steph can hit some crazy leaners and off-balance shots, but ultimately it's about being physical with him and making him wonder when that next hit is coming and where it's going to come from. And I think they just did a great job, especially off ball. There was a lot of moments where Keon Ellis is just wrapped around him. And, of course, regular season, it's probably a foul. But just really setting the tone from the start, I think, is huge. When you make the refs at the start of the game decide whether or not they're going to call something, that is how you win defensively. And I think that's exactly what the Kings did. So shout out to the Kings for having a fantastic game plan and executing it to a T for 48 minutes. That is absolutely huge. Let's see here. All right, I'm going to go to the comments now. I have been rambling for 25 minutes. Wow. Golden State Warriors are bums. Absolute fact. Just an absolute fact. Yeah. Shout out Jack, our friend Jack. I've been critical of this team all season, but I have to admit, this is the first time I can remember the Kings going out and taking a win in an important game. I'm impressed. Absolutely. I echo all of that. Absolutely. I think, I think we've all been critical, and I don't think critical is bad. I am here to say critical is good. As long as you're being fair and as long as you have things to back up what you're saying. And I think anyone with eyes could see the inconsistencies of this team this year, could see that there was points where they were just chucking it up from three. And there was definitely points where we all wondered, I don't know if this team is even as good as what we thought. But it's the fact that, a game like today, I would throw the stat that the Kings were absolutely incredible against the best teams in the league this year. If you look at their record against the top four in the Western Conference, they have a phenomenal record. I think at one point they had the best record of any of the play-in teams against the top four. And tonight was kind of a showing that, for whatever reason, the Kings, you can definitely say they played down to their competition, but they also play up to their competition as well. And I think that definitely leads to a lot of frustration. I understand that. Definitely plays into the inconsistency. But, at the same time, I think it's just further proof of what we've all been saying for the past 2 years. This team is good enough any single night to win. This team is bad enough on any given night to lose, because we just see how this team can ebb and flow. And I think the important thing is, and the thing that they would tell you from that record against the best teams, is when they lock in, they can beat just about anybody. And I think that's the thing that might have flown a bit too under the radar this regular season, is these guys through 82 games, you're going to have ups, you're going to have downs, there's going to be inconsistencies. It's tough for 82 games to kind of string together good performances, but every single night in the playoffs, you're bringing your 100%. There's no question about, overlooking this matchup, or, I don't know, I'm not really feeling it today. Whatever happens throughout the course of 4 months of basketball, things happen. But in the playoffs, it's different. Everyone locks in. Everybody focuses every single game and is giving their 100% to the game plan that night. And I think that is what I saw tonight, is that this team, when they are fully locked in, when they fully are paying attention and humming, not that they weren't in those Pelican games and in those Maverick games and things like that, but when everything's working, when the shot is falling too. Tonight they shoot 46% from three. That's huge. I mean, that is too big of a number to where they didn't even need to hit that many threes. But the fact that they shot over 40%, I thought was incredible. Just a great performance, man. I just think you could not have had a better performance at a better time. Keegan. Got to start a Keon chant now. Amazing performance tonight. So glad he was given a chance. Absolutely, yeah. What would the Keon chant be? You can't really do a key. I guess you could do like a Keon L. I guess that's kind of Keegan's thing, but I don't know. I mean, Allen keeps trying to push this Ellis Island thing. I don't know if there's any specific music, music, or sounds that go with Ellis Island. Yeah, he looked like a vet. That's the way of putting it. Keon Ellis looked like a vet out there, just so comfortable, man. Like, it's insane that this dude in his second year, he didn't play in the playoffs at all last year. That was the biggest game of Keon Ellis's career so far, especially professional NBA career. 3 of 4 from 3. He had 3 steals, 3 blocks, 5 assists, 4 boards, 15 points. That's incredible. That is absolutely incredible. I didn't realize 3 steals, 3 blocks, 5 assists for Keon. Wow. I'll tell you what, Kevin Huerter ain't giving you all that. I didn't mean to just send a stray there at Kevin. I more just say, like, you know, that's proof that Keon is his own individual talent that you kind of need to view as an asset. That's not just opportunity. That's some real skill. To get 3 steals, 3 blocks, that's some real skill. And some of those blocks were really crucial. There was guys trying to take, you know, I think one of them was on Kuminga trying to take a kind of leaning floater in the lane. A lot of it is Keon coming off on help defense and sliding over. I think he got one on Steph on a floater to get a 24-second violation. Just great, man. What did Charles say? Did Charles pick the Kings? No way. No way Chuck picked the Kings. No way. I saw before the game, I think they said the Kings, what was it? Let me see. I got a Bleacher Report notification literally as I was walking into, as I was walking into the arena today, I got a notification from Bleacher Report that said, it was about the TNT guys and what they said on the broadcast. I don't have it. Yeah, well, yeah. Point is, they said, like, the Kings need to play the game of their life or something like that in order to win. Warriors going fishing. That's right. Put them on the graphic. Warriors going fishing, man. They cannot believe it. I know that they are so shell-shocked right now, man. I know that that locker room has to be dead silent. Heads and palms, and just feeling it, man. Just going through it. And that's the thing about dynasties. If this is really how it ends, man, nobody ever thinks it's going to happen until it happens. Everybody thinks the dynasty is just going to keep on rolling, or, you know, you'll have a nice swan song or something like that. Nope. Thing about the end is you're always the last one to know. And the Warriors, like I said, they thought they were rolling through tonight. They thought they had enough juju to kind of, you know, carry it through the night. And this thing might be over, man. This thing might be over for them. And what the fact that the Kings had a hand in it, you know, after pretty much having the opportunity to do it last year, you know, definitely feels good to at the very least redeem themselves a bit. And they have another chance for redemption on Friday against the Pelicans. As we know, 0-5 this season against the Pelicans. And I'd be remiss to not mention that there are reports here. Let me see. It's either Woj or Shams. Very, very, very credible sources here that Zion Williamson, let's see here. This is from Shams Charania. Pelican star Zion Williamson is believed to have suffered a left hamstring injury tonight versus the Lakers. Williamson had 40, 11, and 5 before having to leave in the final minutes of crunch time. Tests coming Wednesday. First off, the fact that he couldn't finish that game is very, very telling. Obviously, that's a gotta-have-it game. If I'm not mistaken, it was a 4-point game with about a minute left. Zion is not leaving that game unless he literally physically cannot go. And the fact that he didn't finish that game tells me he was in really severe pain. You know, even if he does play, he's going to be hampered. And that's huge for the Kings, especially a guy like Zion who gets downhill and the Kings really have no answer for at all. That would be huge if Zion is even just hampered a bit. Of course, you don't want to root for injury or anything serious, but, you know, if he's not healthy, if he's not 100%, that's huge for the Kings. That's absolutely huge. I know they lost the other day without even Brandon Ingram playing. But, man, I mean, how many times can a team beat you in one season? 6? Really? 6? 6 times? That's what the Pelicans will be going for? It's I'm not saying it can't happen, but, man, that would just be pure and utter domination. I definitely think, yeah, Manny, absolutely. Yeah, I can't imagine what them TNT boys are saying right now. I can't wait to get home and look at all the socials and all that stuff. Nobody wanted this, man. Let me tell you, nobody outside of Sacramento wanted this. Everybody wanted the Warriors to be in this. I think even the refs tonight, to an extent, wanted the Warriors to be in this. They definitely kept the Warriors in this game for longer than they probably should have. There was a lot of soft whistles on the Kings side. I just felt like the Warriors were, every time, someone would fall to the ground or, there would just be little tic-tac things that the Kings were getting called for, and it didn't feel like the Warriors were getting that same whistle. I know it's kind of like baked in when you're playing a team like the Warriors or the Lakers that they're going to get a lot of benefits of the whistle, but it seemed a bit excessive tonight. And I've said this like 5 times already today, but I'm not that guy that complains about fouls and wants to say, oh, the referees are trying to screw us and are trying to job us or anything like that, but did kind of feel like the refs weren't on the Kings side today. It just weren't calling it evenly. Like, there would be times where De'Aaron would drive, get absolutely destroyed, and then on the other end, Steph barely gets touched. He gets a foul. Draymond had one where he barely got touched and got a foul. It didn't feel equal to me. Didn't feel consistent. Really, just now walking out? Yeah, I gotta get out there. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm gonna have to wrap this thing up pretty soon because I gotta get out there and see this beam and see. K Street is crazy. Warrior fans, by the way, man, they were. Whew, they might needed to consider cutting people off mid-third today because let me tell you, nothing gets the juices flowing like juice and like your team getting blown out on the road. There were some people who were gonna lose the battle but try and win the war tonight. I guess maybe lose the war but try and win a battle, I guess is the better way of saying that. Yeah, people were ready to go today, I'll tell you that. And the Warrior fans hit the exits kind of early. I think I tweeted out with 9 minutes. Like I said, that timeout that got called when the Warriors were down 20 right before they made a little mini run. There was fans heading towards the exits, and on the way out, Kings fans were not kind. And definitely saw a good handful of security ready to go. Don't be an idiot. Just don't. Just I don't understand. I get emotions are high, but I don't understand getting that worked up and really trying to, people really are looking for trouble, is what I'll say. It just surprises me every time in these environments how much trouble people are, actively looking for. So be careful if you're out there. And don't be stupid. Let's see here. Yeah, the energy was pretty sick in here. I will say, in the words of De'Aaron, well, he said too many damn Laker fans, but too many Warrior fans in here. It was probably, I think 70-30 is fair. There was a lot of Warrior fans in here. Definitely, of course, they didn't have that much of an opportunity to really have a big pop, but just visually, you saw a good scattering of yellow out, and definitely, when the Warriors did have any of their, Steph would hit a 3 or something, it got pretty loud. So the energy was pretty good. Kings fans were ready. I think the fact that the Kings gave them hope early definitely helped. I think if fans would have been, kind of dragged through 2 quarters of, I don't know if this is going to go our way. The fact that the Kings really did handle the Warriors gave the crowd faith as well, and they really rode them for the entirety of the game. It was a really good crowd today for the Kings, which is, absolutely should be expected. And what's really great is we don't have to deal with this no more. Now that the Warriors are out, we're done with them. There will be no more split Golden One centers. These things are going to get crazy. If the Kings make the playoffs and play OKC in the first round, there's not going to be an Oklahoma City fan in sight. There's going to be 100% Kings fans, and 99% Kings fans in this building, and that's when this thing's going to get rocking. All it takes is one more win. Kings have to take care of business against New Orleans Pelicans, and that's a tough task. That's a really tough task considering you have not even been able to really make it close this season. The last game was definitely the closest matchup between these two teams, but ultimately C.J. McCollum, 9 of 12 from 3 in that game. That's burned in my head. Trey Murphy was incredible from 3. Zion was, of course, great in that game. The Kings still have to find an answer there. And, I think physicality will definitely help against that New Orleans team. I don't think New Orleans likes physicality at all. But yeah, Kings are going to have to do. I wouldn't say tonight. Honestly, felt more impossible than anything else. Maybe tonight is a proof of concept, and nothing is going to feel impossible after this. But yeah, I think it's definitely a really big task. And the crappy thing is, you're not going to have the advantage of having your home crowd there. You gotta bring all that energy yourself. The Kings have to manufacture all of their energy and make sure that they bring the same attention to detail and the same fire that they brought tonight to New Orleans on Friday. And I'm sure there's going to be a good helping of Kings fans out there, just because New Orleans isn't really the best crowd. But especially considering they lost today, I don't know how their fan base is feeling about their faith in this. But the Kings have to be the hungrier team. I didn't even think there was really much opportunity for the Kings to look like the hungrier team today, besides just their overall tenacity. But you have to be the hungrier team against the Pelicans, just because it feels like that's not a Warriors team. The Warriors rely heavily on their stars. The Pelicans have a good spread of guys who can give you trouble, and that presents a completely different set of issues for this Kings team. Klay's trade value is gone. It's absolutely gone. Our boy Clank is done. Like, I don't know what the contract. I was already like, people were saying Golden State's just going to give him the same contract they gave Draymond, which was a 4-year, $100 million contract, $25 million per year for the next 4 years. Good luck. If that's what you're going to offer, good luck. And I don't know what his overall market value would be if he hits free agency, but I can't imagine a team paying him more than 20. He's not a defender anymore. And if he's going to be streaky, tonight is hilarious because, in a way, this is kind of who Klay's been all year. I know he absolutely figured it out these past 10, 15 games for them. But in the middle of the season, Klay was going through it. He was going, midlife crisis going through it. He had some quotes that were a little alarming, where he was like, I gotta figure out who I am. I'm not the guy that I used to be, and that's kind of tough to go through in the middle of a season. So I don't know if Klay is really the kind of $20 million per year guy anymore. It'll be interesting to see what he gets on the open market. It'll be interesting to see what the Warriors value him at, because they have to think about, they're the number one payroll in the NBA that just walked out as a 10 seed. That's not ideal, and you can't run that back. You can't have the number one payroll in the entirety of the NBA, lose in a 9-10 play-in, and then re-up for 4 more years. You can't do it. So that's why, I don't know if Klay will be gone. I would bet that Wiggins probably isn't sticking around. Again, with the emergence of Kuminga, it just feels like Wiggins is a bit redundant. I'd imagine Moses Moody probably doesn't stay along. He probably wants a different opportunity. Chris Paul's going to be gone. He's a free agent this offseason. I don't think they're going to bring Chris Paul back. Doesn't really make sense for them. This is a really big blow for this Warriors team, and it's going to be really interesting to see how they try and kind of collect the pieces and what they can bring back next year. Yes, Keon was amazing. Keegan had Hart slayed. Let's go. Trash. No, and Curry was off. That Curry was underdone. I hope you're proud of yourself, Sydney. That Curry was underdone. All right, I'll give you that one. Let's see here. Edward, I love that the Kings are taking on the Pels. It's time to get rid of 2 demons for the Kings, and if they win, think of the confidence and valuable experience they gain. Absolutely, yeah, for sure. I think
they packed them up. They go. Hey, RP, they go.
I know, they're about to be on your neck.
They need a cane.
That was crazy. Yeah, no one is more happy than Alan. Nobody. They were trying to get my man out of here. They don't know. Man, oh man. let's see here, man. So many comments to get through. Jeez, appreciate y'all. Damn, there's a ton of people in here. Appreciate y'all for, of course, it's a big game. Of course, what should I expect from Kings fans? Appreciate y'all hopping in here. Definitely going to do these after Friday's game as well. Doesn't matter how that result goes. If this is your first time tuning in, appreciate you definitely. We've been doing this all season long after every single Sacramento Kings game. You can check us out again, like I said, after Friday's game as well. And any game past that, especially, of course, playoff games. We do home, we do road. It doesn't matter. You can check us out right here, Sactown Sports 1140 YouTube channel. And I believe I still say I believe. We are on the Twitter page. I can confirm we do stream on Twitter as well. So, yes, definitely appreciate all you hopping in here for sure. Call him a golden girl. I assume that's talking about that sad boy over there. Let's see here. Oh, camera cut out. That was weird. Let's see here. Oops. Oh, now my camera's acting up. Now it's switching cameras.
Yep.
There we go. Yes, ultimate sad boy. That fool's gone now. He is definitely gone. I think they kicked him out. By the way, shout out, before I hop out of here, shout out to the Golden One Center staff. Like, as Brendan just texted me, said they just told them wait 30 minutes for Domantas Sabonis to get out. And then, yeah, they have to wait 30 minutes for Sabonis. So if you're waiting for comments from Domantas Sabonis, you're going to have to wait some time. But yeah, shout out to the Golden One Center crew here. Every single person. I mean, they switched out the floor from game 81 to 82. They had to swap out the floor, brought in the same floor back into tonight's game for the media. I mean, they had to clear out the entire media room that we normally hang out in, and they turned that into a press conference room. They turned like one of the lounges into the new press room, and there was clearly a lot of people who had some very, very long nights here recently. And of course, we always shout out the cleaning crew who walks through the stands and cleans up everybody's garbage. But just shout out everyone who has a part in making these games happen, because there is a whole behind the scenes thing that goes on here that nobody really gets to see. And there's a lot of people who spend a lot of long nights here just to kind of get these daily games to even happen. So shout out to all the Golden One staffers out there who do a fantastic job, especially security. Security had to work double time today. So good. So good. I don't think anything feels better, man. Like, tonight might have been, I don't want to overstep myself here, but I do kind of feel like tonight was a bit of a confirmation for me, something I've been thinking about for a while. I do think the Warriors have overtaken the Lakers as the Kings' modern rivals. I just don't think a win over the Lakers feels this good. I really don't. I think everything that's happened these past 10 years of the Kings being out of the NBA conversation, I think I tell people this all the time. I was just telling my barber it earlier. It makes me so mad every time I see, a kid 12 and under wearing a Steph Curry jersey in Sacramento, just because it makes me think of just the wasted, like the Kings kind of almost or probably did lose a generation of fans. If you're bad for 16 years and in that same 16-year window, you have a team that's an hour away that is quite literally the most popular team in the world, you're going to lose some fans. You're going to lose quite a bit of fans. And I think everybody who lives in Sacramento definitely saw that happen over the years, just the amount of Warrior fans that sprung out of nowhere, and then that kind of coincided with a lot of people from the Bay moving to Sac. It just sucked to see all of those kids wear Steph Curry jerseys. Kids, I always say, like, kids probably get made fun of if you were wearing a De'Aaron Fox or a Buddy Hield jersey 5 years ago. Kids were probably like, oh, why do you like the Kings? Like, why would you do that? Like the Warriors, Steph, and all this stuff. And, that sucks. Like, that's like the business, or not even, that's like the life side of sports that doesn't really get talked about a lot. But definitely, like, a day like today, to me, again, is just proof that this thing runs deep. This rivalry, it is a rivalry now too, because the Kings just knocked the Warriors out of contention for the postseason or for the playoffs. I guess you could say the Kings knocked them out of postseason But I definitely think that, just with the feelings, at least from the fan base, like I think a lot of people have said, no, these two teams respect each other. There's no bad blood between these two teams, so it's not a rivalry. I just think that it's not, honestly, it's not really up to the players. I think that it is a very, very real thing on the ground. Like, I think, you go to work and you have 2 to 3 coworkers who are Warrior fans, who rub it in, who have rubbed it in for years. And I think Kings fans last year said like the beam and probably were talking trash to Warrior fans in the playoff series. And I think it's real. I think, of course, you kind of need a bit more of, I think you need a little bit more theatrics here to kind of get it really, really going. I think the Kobe elbow and the referees definitely played a huge storytelling factor into the Kings-Lakers rivalry. But ultimately, I just think that there's enough passion between these two fan bases against each other that I would call it a rivalry. I mean, what I saw on the concourse today definitely looked like a rivalry to me. So yes, that's a long way of saying this does feel really good, and I really don't know if anything could possibly feel better. Personally, like on a personal level. Of course, if the Kings upset OKC in a 1-8 series, that's going to feel ridiculous. Of course, if the Kings win a championship, that's going to feel absolutely unreal, like literally unreal. But beating the Warriors, like just from an opponent standpoint, if you just blanket say we beat the Warriors, like nothing feels better on an individual one-game basis. Yeah. Down. Monk. He ain't coming back. Malik ain't coming back. Let me tell you, this is not a. There's no point in hoping. We heard Malik. You can check it out yesterday. Go listen to Malik Monk spoke to the press for the first time yesterday, and ultimately pretty much said it's not happening. He said I haven't even ran yet, so he's not close to a return. So that's not really it's not really something to really even consider at this moment. Well, all right, feed that baby. Would have to make it second round for Monk to play. Yeah, like I don't even know if second round, honestly, because again he said he's not. He literally said. They asked him like how are you feeling, like how does it feel when you've been out there, and he said honestly I can't even tell you, I'll let you know when I start running. So he's still got to run, he's got to jump, he's got to cut, and then he's got to scrimmage. Like there's a lot more steps before he's even talking about game action. So it's really not something to try and hold on to because it's probably just over for Malik. Unless they make a deep run. Okay, yes, Styles and Watkins tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. We will be breaking down this game in entirety. We'll talk about the Kings-Pelicans matchup as well. All that and more. Definitely don't want to miss Styles and Watkins tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. right here on Sactown Sports 1140. I have honestly too many comments to look through. So I'm probably gonna do a quick little 3 stars here and then head out. I definitely want to see that beam, and I definitely want to see how the energy is outside. Not yet. Ooh, that's also not a sentence now that I'm reading that. Unless you're talking like Yoda. Yes. Let's see here. There's also people trying to get me out of here, so I'm gonna try and wrap this up. 3 stars, and then we're heading on out of here. First star of the night. I'm going to go Keon Ellis. Keon Ellis today, 15 points. Again, we just read his stat line out. 3 of 4 from 3, 5 of 8 from the field, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, 3 steals, 3 blocks. What a game. I mean, again, from a guy who got inserted into the starting lineup maybe a month ago, is still only in his second year as a pro, and didn't play last year in the playoffs, so didn't really have this big game experience. For Keon to step up the way he did, I mean, I think they kind of needed it. Like, again, it was an all hands on deck kind of game. But if Keon didn't bring the defensive edge that we know he brings every single night, but especially if he's not hitting threes, I kind of think that's where the Warriors would have just lived. They probably would have doubled Keegan, and they would have said, you know what, we're okay if Keon Ellis is going to hit 6 threes, and we're going to lose that way. So I think the fact that Keon kept them honest, 3 of 4 from 3, kept the ball moving, and just made smart plays over and over and over again, I definitely think Keon deserves 3 stars. I hope a lot of people talk about his performance because to me, that is just absolutely huge to getting the job done today. And I think his defense also is just a layer to this team against this Warriors team that they just didn't have last year. And the fact that you can have 3 guys on ball putting the pressure that De'Aaron, Davion, and Keon can bring, and then you add Keegan to that as well. That is a really good formula for making guards' lives really difficult. 2 stars going to De'Aaron Fox, 24 points, plus 20. He was 11 of 25, incredibly aggressive, 2 of 8 from 3, 4 boards, 6 assists. Nothing really crazy from De'Aaron, 2 steals as well. But just was like the head of the stake today. I mean, it was clear that he was very, very aggressive. He was looking for his shot. I think he kind of slipped a bit in that fourth quarter. I guess not. He only took 2 shots in the fourth. I just kind of thought he was more aggressive. I guess it was that third quarter where he really took over. Looking at it here, De'Aaron had 14 points in that third quarter, doing his fourth quarter Fox impression a little bit early, but was really, really effective in that quarter. Was 6 of 12 from the field in that third, and just really put the foot on the gas there. That was the quarter where the Warriors made it a 4-point game going into half. They just did a great, there was a prime opportunity for the Warriors after that to get a lead again, make things uncomfortable, start to have the Kings start to doubt themselves a bit. But De'Aaron and Keegan both, they combined for 24 points, De'Aaron and Keegan did in that third, and ultimately I think that's what won it for them. The ability for them to stay comfortable in this game I thought was absolutely huge, and that brings us to our 3 stars of the night. Keegan. Wow. 8 threes, 8 of 13 from 3 for Keegan tonight. 6 boards on top of that, 2 steals. Didn't have any blocks, but man, he guarded Steph. I think I saw him on Draymond a bit. And really was just incredibly aggressive on the offensive end. From 2-point range, he was 2 of 7 actually, which isn't fantastic. Had a floater in there. He did attack the rim really, really well, I thought. But this was a huge, monumental game for the development of Keegan Murray, and this is definitely something we're going to reference and talk about for a really, really long time. The fact that Keegan drops 32 points in an elimination game, that is special. That is not something that everybody in this league is able to do, and that's exactly what you want to see your number 4 pick in the draft doing. I don't know if anybody, Chet definitely is going to have an opportunity to do something special from that draft class, but I don't know how many guys really would be capable of doing that. And Keegan just looks so comfortable from the start. He knew, it was very clear that they told him the game plan is for Keegan to put up shots. You cannot take enough shots if you're Keegan Murray in this game. They came out incredibly aggressive. That first quarter, he was 4 of 7, took 10 shots. He was 5 of 10 in that first quarter. Incredibly aggressive, and that's huge for Keegan, a guy who's really just kind of a naturally passive guy. For Keegan to have the mentality to go out there and say, hey, this game very well might come down to I have to hit my shots at a high level tonight, and just unfazed, dude. A lot of open looks as well. Golden State's definitely going to kick themselves for how often they left Keegan open, but ultimately I think you could say the Warriors didn't fully respect Keegan, because I just think that they left him open too many times, and I think they were okay. I think they thought Keegan wasn't going to remain that aggressive, and we've seen it happen a couple times where Keegan, again, in that second quarter, Keegan took let's see here, first quarter I said he was 5 of 10. At the end of the second quarter he was 5 of 12. So they felt like they actually were making some headway there, and again, that's when that was when the Warriors made their run, was in that second quarter. 28-23, they won that quarter. And then the third, Kings dominated 37-26. Fourth quarter, 27-18. So really, it was when Keegan was hitting, this team was just, to use their term, was light years ahead. They were light years better than the Warriors when Keegan Murray was remaining aggressive, and that could be the key here. The rest of this stretch, the confidence that they get from today's game could definitely have some holdover effects for this next play-in game, and who knows? I mean, if it happens again in that play-in game, maybe Keegan says, this is where I take my leap. I know we were kind of sophomore slumping it a bit here, and everyone was kind of waiting for me to look like a different offensive player. Maybe it's about to happen right now. Maybe Keegan has just found his confidence, has just found his swagger, and understands, I just beat this team that I'm going to put words in his mouth. He was probably pretty terrified of this team playing against them last year. It's a big stage. It's a really big stage against a team that you probably watched growing up for a really long time. It was probably surreal to be out there in the playoffs against Draymond, against Steph, and to have that series go 7 games. I think today was a really big moment for Keegan, a kind of like, not necessarily welcome to the NBA, but like an I belong kind of moment. And I definitely hope we see more of this in the Kings game on Friday, because they need him. They're going to need him, especially if Zion is downed even a little bit. They're going to need Keegan Murray to be really, really good. All right, and with that, I just hit the hour mark, and I'm going to hop on out of here. I appreciate every single one of you for hopping in here. There's a ton of you. Super active. This is definitely the most active the chat has ever been. I've never had to scroll this far just to get to the top of this, so definitely appreciate all the interaction. You guys have been fantastic all year long. I'm so glad that this thing isn't over yet. I hope to see every single one of you back on Friday after the Kings beat the New Orleans Pelicans in New Orleans. It'll be from the home setup, so I'll hopefully be on pretty immediately after that game is over. Hope you all enjoy the night. Hope you all enjoy this beam. Please, everybody out there, sleep as soundly as you have ever slept before, because the Kings season continues, and the Golden State Warriors and all of their fans are going to sleep salty, scared, and a bit hurt. And that's a feeling that's a bit too familiar for the Kings. So it's about time that they had some of that, and definitely going to want to check on all of those Bay Area folks tomorrow. So for that, I appreciate you all. And again, hope to see you on Friday, and definitely hope to see you tomorrow in the chat on Styles and Watkins, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. right here on Sactown Sports 1140. Y'all have a fantastic night, and I will see you tomorrow, or I'll see you Friday. Peace.